Welcome to this Tableau Conference special edition of Preppin Data. Yep, we're going to San Diego Zoo for this challenge. So the first inputs that we're working with is our animal details and our plant details. So these have very similar field names and structure. So they have like one row for each plant or one row for each animal, similar field names. So what we're going to do is we're going to union these two tables together, stack them on top of one another. And I'm just going to create an additional union step. I know you can already see it in the flow there, but I just want to look exactly how it would look if you were unioning those two tables together. Oh, that's hard to say, unioning. So we can see that we've got some mismatched fields in our list here, and we want to make sure that we match them up together. So one thing that we're told in the requirements is about the status field. So we've got the word status, and then we've got the suggestion that comes up when we click on status that we probably want to merge these two fields together. So I'm going to hit this plus button here, and that's going to mean that they now are stacked on top of one another. They are now considered one field. So we've gone down to 10 fields from 11. And if I just find where that field went, it went to here. So I've got the status field there. And it's got the correct naming convention, so that's all good. But if it didn't, we could just rename it quickly if we needed to. And then we also want the animal and the plant table field, to stack on top of one another as well. So if we look at the moment, our animal and plant are next to each other here. All the null animals are plant names, all the null plants are animal names. So we just want to merge these two fields together. So I'll do the similar thing here of just clicking on the animal, hitting the plus button there next to plant, and then they become the same field. Again, they've moved all the way over to the right, so I'm just going to go and rename that to be name, and then that's all good for us in our union step. That's all the changes that I've made in this one too. So we'll go on to the next step where we're just removing a lot of fields. So these 4 fields are the only ones that we want. So to remove fields, we can either right click on them and say remove them individually. We can hold down Control to highlight multiple at a time, right click, remove those fields, or we could just click on the ones that we know we want to keep and say right click, keep only instead. So lots of different options as to the ways we can get rid of those fields. Next up, we want to get the information now about which of these are plants, which ones are animals. So I might not know, for example, the acacia. Is that a plant? Is that an animal? Sometimes we haven't heard of these things. So we can see in the table names we've got that it belongs to the plant details table, so we know that it's a plant. So in order to extract that information from the table names field, we can try a split and try an automatic split, because Prep's really good at recognizing what's in common between the two values that we have here in this field and what's different. So what's different is the word animal or plant. So we apply that automatic split and we just get animal or plant left over, which is super helpful. I will remove that change from here because I do that in the next step. And then I just rename that field that is created to be wildlife, and then get rid of the table names field as well. So now we have our categorization of the animals or plants, which is great. And then finally, what we want to do is we want to update this class field so that anything that's in brackets is actually overwrites kind of the Latin name for that class. So for example, this aves becomes just birds. So the way that we can do that is we can use the split again, but this time we're going to do a custom split. And we're going to use the separator as that opening bracket. And rather than taking the first field, we're going to take the last field. And when we create that split, then you can see that for values where there is no opening bracket, it just carries over to be the same. But where there is that opening bracket, it has just the value that is within the bracket, with that closing bracket at the end there. So we need to just get rid of that closing bracket to tidy up this field a little bit more. So we'll just go to the clean options here and remove punctuation. And then, hey presto, that is exactly what we're looking for. So we can just remove that original class field and rename this one, and it's all great. So again, I'm going to delete those steps from here because I do all those changes in this next step, so it's nice and clean for us. Wonderful. So now we're going to do our join. So I'm just going to come and undo this change here just so that you can see what it's looking like. So in my join step, I'm joining the name onto the name from this wildlife table that has all of our plants and animals listed down here, and as well as the habitat and the region that they are from. So I'm joining them on the name, but I can see that 6 values aren't being joined. If I click on the blue values that aren't being included, then we can see that all of the names here have this issue where they've got this strange character sequence. So it's like bird and then and #039 semicolon s, where we know that that value actually needs to be an apostrophe. So if we check in the pink table, then we can see that yes, all of these values match up in their name fields. It's just that weird thing that's happening with the apostrophe. So we'll go and fix that before the join step. So we'll create a new field there called name. It's going to overwrite our current name, and then we are just going to use the replace function and put in there that strange sequence of characters, replace it with an apostrophe. We need to have like double quotation marks around that single quotation mark to in order to do that replacement. So that's something important to realize there. And then lo and behold, when we come back to our join, that's all working. Oh, I don't think I pressed save. So therefore it's not all working if I don't say save. So let's hit save rather than closing that. And then when we come back to our join, we no longer have any records falling out, which is wonderful. Cool. So now we've just got these couple of additional fields that you can see will be renamed as wildlife-1 and name-1. So we want to remove those before we go into our stage 1 output. And so that is our stage 1 solution to this Preppin data challenge. Come back for the next video where we're going to run through the stage 2 solution. Thanks for watching.